Good evening and welcome to the October 20th meeting of the Board of Selectmen. Everybody rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And thank you for coming or tuning in. We have no public hearings this evening. Any announcements by the board?
None for me.
Other than that we're 2 weeks away from national elections.
Correct.
So, any additions or deletions to the agenda?
No, sir.
We're set. We do have an appointment, Donna Duffy, yes, representing, I guess, Hamilton Road, is all I know is. So, the floor is yours.
Awesome. You want me to give you these, the handout?
Yeah, I'll do that if you want.
One's for you. So, yeah, thank you for having me.
You can, Jim, you can pick her up all right on that mic?
Yep.
All right, thank you so much for having me be on your agenda. And most of you know where the Hamilton Road is, right?
Yes.
And it's a throughway. And it seems like this past year, with talking with neighbors and everything, the speed limit is 25, but you'd never know it because there's an old sign coming from 202 up Hamilton. And there's, I don't know, it's beaten up, looks like it's in trees or whatever. I didn't notice it until a neighbor said. And then there's no sign to the other end of Hamilton where the South Waterboro is. So it seems like, so I live on James Drive, then there's Hilltop, there's James Drive Circular, and then there's James Drive Extension. So there's a neighborhood there, and people use it for various, recreational activities. But even so, it seems like even with cars, when you stop at the end of James or Hilltop or the James on the other side, even cars, I worry about my safety, and that's what the whole issue is, about safety and how we can make it better for our people in the community. It's hard for me to get out because people are going 45 or 60. So it's not just, walkers or joggers or people biking around the neighborhood or on the Hamilton Road. So I'm sure you've heard of this before. I'm sure it's not any old news that the Hamilton Road is kind of dangerous. What else? Let's see. You can ask me any questions. I think people are fearful for their lives, and I think vehicles that are coming up the Hamilton don't realize there's a development there. And so the neighborhood and other people I know that recreate in that on the Hamilton Road, it'd be great if we could put something forward, see if there's any money in the budget to do something. And so, possible solutions. People talk to me about speed bumps. I don't know what that entails. Or 25-mile-per-hour signs before both entrances. But you know what? Signs don't even make a difference. I thought maybe paint 25 miles per hour on the road before the entrances to James and the other James. So as people are going up the hill, the Winslow's house is on the right. It seems like something right there before the development and on the other side of Hamilton. I saw on May Street as I was driving, I'm like, oh my God, they have a 25 miles per hour sign painted. And then when you go on May Street, there is a development on the right. So, and then I know there are various different electronic speed signs of various sizes. And any other suggestions or concerns, or if you think this is not feasible, or any information or feedback would be great.
We do have one of those signs. Have you seen it around town?
The trailer, it's on the trailer.
It's currently on Daring Ridge Road
Yeah.
right now, but we can move that
Yeah.
to your development. It's a speed sign that calculates how fast cars are going.
Okay.
That's something that we can do.
And it has been fairly effective, at least where the sign is, it slows
Right.
traffic down. Okay,
Right.
so what I would suggest, maybe we get, Matt and Dwayne
And Eli.
or, you know, I guess Matt's been, I know last time I saw it moved, it was Matt and Dwayne Fay that moved it. But,
Yeah, they came to get it from my garage
yeah.
and said that they would keep it.
So I would think that, you know, we can touch base with those guys and, you know, certainly move it to Hamilton Road for a while.
Yeah, but that, whoops, okay.
The other thing that I know historically we've done, like on Daring Ridge Road, which is another, probably no different than any other back road in town. We did put the flags up, the speed limit sign with the flags, that at least, and I think that recommendation came from York County Sheriff's Office, of, you know, at least flagging so people, it's not just another white sign, it's a, I think the road probably is posted at 35. So we'd have to go look at some recommendation of if we took the speed down from 35, but I think you're absolutely right, Donna, that the sign doesn't matter what
It doesn't.
speed limit is. There seems to be a complete disregard for speed limits these days, and it doesn't matter what road you're on.
Right.
Whether it's
Right.
West or Goodwin
Right.
Mills Road or Deering Ridge or Weber or New Dam, I mean, it's, so I know that the two contract deputies we have try to patrol, and they only can do so much, but they try to patrol, and I think York County has been helpful over the years with kind of doing I won't call it a speed trap, but at least a speed reduction effort, right?
Right, so signs are great, but they don't work without enforcement. So that's where the trick needs to come in. So in conjunction with signage and enforcement from local law enforcement, the sheriff's office in this case, I think that's where we would really start to hit it. Just by beefing up patrols, if we could, in that area for a little while. Enforcement and education is the way you're going to reduce speed and visibility. So if we take that speed sign, get it up there, in conjunction with the speed limit signs that are already posted, if there's some brush that need to be cleared, we can get that taken care of, and then enforce and educate.
Okay, so that sign coming from 202, I don't even see it. So it has to be, can it be moved? It doesn't have to be at the end of the road, because people are like speeding up.
So the sign needs to be posted as close to the intersection as possible when you're turning onto a road.
That doesn't mean that we can't add
Another sign,
another
that's right.
sign,
We
or
can-
two signs.
Okay, those two signs, fine, but I think that's great, but you're saying that with something else too, right?
Absolutely, in conjunction with visibility from law enforcement
Oh,
and
so you-
actual enforcement and education. Contacts, stops, traffic stops.
Right. So you mean education with police stops, right?
That's exactly what I mean.
Okay, so just to be clear, so are you saying that there can be, or you're going forward with possible police?
Well, we have two contract
Right.
deputies in town
Right,
that work exclusively for the town of Waterboro,
correct.
okay? They have, Hamilton Road is not the only
I
speeding
realize
problem
that,
issue,
but-
right? But, so they've traditionally attacked the roads that have the highest volume on them, okay?
That's Hamilton now.
Well, compared to stuff coming out of Lake Arrowhead over Weber or Deering Ridge or Roberts Ridge or whatnot, it probably doesn't have as much traffic, but.
I don't know, people go that shortcut to 202.
Well, I understand,
Yeah.
that people,
Yeah.
they take all kinds of shortcuts, and Roberts Ridge Road is notorious to be just a shortcut down from whatnot, but we have talked years ago about speed bumps, that never really get a lot of support, only because it becomes, because they'd have to be taken up during the winter plowing season anyway. And historically, I think towns that have installed some speed bumps, it becomes almost a game to see how fast you can go over the speed bump, rather than, you know, it's like putting a fragile sticker on a box and then shipping it across the country, you know. Everybody that handles it says, yeah, it's fragile, okay. But, so speed bumps has not really been on the top of our agenda to say, hey, this is what we can do to reduce speed. I think all you gotta do is look at the speed bumps down and around the RSU 57, and you can get a pretty good feel for what speed bumps do. So I think we need to refresh, you know, we can refresh the signs. That's not anything that we gotta do out of the ordinary. I think Dave Benton is sitting behind you, and he's the Public Works Director. I would assume that we have no problem with moving signs or putting additional signs up there, probably in front of the entrances to that subdivision up on top of the hill. And I think, you know, let's get the speed trailer over there and see if that can have an effect, and then I think it's an issue of T and Dwayne and Levi up and saying, hey, you know, you need some routine enforcement there, so.
We can address that, but also communication is key. So when we start doing this, keep us in the loop if you're seeing changes.
Okay, so,
Funnel it through me.
Right
Go
through Gary.
I'll get it to
okay.
them.
Did you get my last email? You did? Okay.
Or if you want, you can send it to the board, that's fine.
Yeah, okay, great. No, it's like, as I don't know how much to respond, like, I didn't hear from anyone, so that's why I called. But I will let you know now, and you'll respond back? Like,
Yeah, yes.
excellent.
Yep.
All right, so what you're saying is you'll refresh the signs, you'll put the speed trailer, and then if that doesn't work, or number 3 would be the enforcement.
Yeah, we're good.
All in conjunction, everything gonna work
All
together
together,
at the
okay.
same time.
Great. Well, great. What do you think about the painting on the roads?
The painting will last half of one season.
That's it?
If you look at the stripes on the road, stripes on the road last one plow season, and then they're gone. So, and I don't know, do we stripe Hamilton Road at all?
They're due to be done.
Okay.
Yep, we emailed the list to the people that do our striping, and they're due to be done.
Are they gonna do it before the ground freezes this year?
Well, you'd be surprised how cold it can be, and they can still stripe, and it does take. And they do it in the middle of the night when it's so cold.
We haven't found that painting on the pavement,
Hasn't helped?
I mean, it's as good as a sign. I mean, it's,
Okay. That's true.
if they ignore a sign, they ignore
Right.
they ignore the painting on the street. But let's see what happens, let's refresh the signs, put a couple more, one in front of James Drive and headed north, and one headed east.
I'll find the halfway point. and
Right.
put one at the halfway.
Yeah, and yet the trees get in the way. Obviously, they grow. So like, if you do it halfway, so people are, you know, like driving. I mean, like, if you had a police officer there, I might get a ticket too, because it's, for some reason, you're getting no momentum up that hill, and then you just go straight ahead. But if you can put a sign that is like, yeah, maybe before that, like, as you're going up to the hill on the right, I don't know. I'm sure you.
We're up there doing work now, so
Okay.
I will,
Oh, is that you? That was,
yeah, the little excavator is ours, yeah.
okay, great. What are
We're
you doing
some
there?
ditching and so on.
Okay. Great.
All right,
Try it, and then keep in contact.
Yep, I'll be back. All right, thank you.
thanks.
Thank you, Donna.
Thanks for coming in.
Did you say you had signatures from other
Yes, I
people?
did.
Or would you bring that to give to them? Or
Do you want them?
it's up to you.
I mean, they're in the car. It wasn't attached to this email because.
Oh, that's fine.
I
Just
could get,
forward them in another email will be fine.
all right.
Maybe-
Do you want me to get, I could get 100 of them.
No, there's no need
No,
to.
we just
say it.
on record that, there's certainly not just one person coming in.
Oh, no, yeah, right, no, everyone would have come with me. So, how do I send, I would have to fax it to you. Because their signatures are there, so how would I email that?
But just give us a copy, if you
I'll
can
just-
get Laura a
Yeah,
copy of it,
just
she'll
email
take
it.
it.
Oh, okay, excellent.
She'll email it to us.
Thank you.
Thank
Before you vote on it, David, do we encourage citizens calling in plates?
Yes, but the issue
What is
with
it?
anybody, so citizens calling in plates, for
Plate
example, you got plate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 speeding. Law enforcement has to prove who's driving that car. You cannot write a summons to the registered owner of
Right.
the vehicle for speeding. You can for some other criminal offenses, passing a stop school bus, for example, there's a registered owner liability.
Right.
But, so as far as calling in plates, it's advantageous, because who's to say we cannot call the registered owner of that plate and say, hey, look, we've had a complaint of your vehicle possibly speeding, can you watch it? If it's Junior driving the car, maybe have a talk with your son or daughter,
So all those people that sign something and have a concern up there,
Yeah,
put them on the team for getting information to us, and if they want to give us a plate number, we can at least know
Okay.
about it.
And what they'll find is that the plate number will be their next door neighbor.
right,
Sadly, that often happens. It's-
right. All of us agree that we probably would be the first if there was this, but, it's,
Well, then we'll just have the police officer call Donna Duffy.
just have a police car without even an officer in there, I might stop. At least
That is doable as well.
That is?
We've
You
done
can-
that before.
I'll do that.
And you can put a mannequin in it.
Oh, yeah, the people in the neighborhood would see it and they would think that's a joke, but I wouldn't say it's a joke. And where would that car be?
It could be parked on the edge of Hamilton Road in a safe spot. It could be parked on James Drive in Hamilton Road, just parked there for an extended period of time.
There's
Several
a
hours.
wider area right by the big concrete culvert, Dave,
Yep,
Right.
where you can put one facing either way.
there you go.
Oh, police car.
So that's something that I'm sure we can address.
Where are our traffic counters?
Right over here in the other building,
Okay,
up by my office.
it might be good to, I guess, because one of the reports out of those traffic counters is what the average speed is on the road, right? Because it
Correct.
takes that
Yep.
measurement, right? And it might be nice to, maybe it's a little late to do it now, but certainly in the spring to start putting those out again and around, strategically around the town and get a good feel for, where the problems are on some of these roads. With the traffic counters, I have no idea what the traffic count is today versus what it was 10 years ago during Ridge Road. I know it's
I'm sure
higher.
it's
It's
increased a
really
lot.
high.
I'm not 100% sure that,
I've
but
been
I
there
think
for
that sign
30 years.
trailer takes account also.
Some do, I don't know if ours does or not. with the
I
town.
thought it did, but I may
Might
be
be.
wrong.
And we can do that and look into that too.
Right.
So we do have options.
Right, so would the speed limit go down to 25? Right, do you have to discuss that?
That's something that we'd have to address later. We're gonna leave it at 35 for now, I believe.
Okay.
For
Yeah,
now.
that takes a little bit more of
DOT has to bless that, I
a
think.
study
Take it
to
down
look at.
25.
Yeah,
Yeah, they studied it, 20, 30 years ago
yeah,
before
and
Hannaford was.
unfortunately, the guidelines haven't changed from
Right.
25 or 30 years
Yes.
ago. So, it would be, the condition of the road, the
Right,
number of houses on the road, et cetera, all of that comes into play. But everything in town of Waterboro is, I believe, set at 35, right, all the secondary roads.
oh,
Only
okay.
25 would be an individual development, right?
Right.
The transfer station road, Bennett Hill Road is
Right.
25
Great,
/ 45.
thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Good job. Wish there were more people doing that.
Okay, any public comments? Treasurer's reports are available, motor vehicle reports are available. Anybody that would care to look at those? Report, staff initiatives, selectmen's reports. Dana, anything? No. Dave?
No, I do not this week.
Okay.
Thank you.
And I'm all set, so we'll go right to Gary.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Got a whole full sheet here. I want to refresh people's mind about election. Election is November 3rd at M.R.S.A East, and absentee voting has started. It began October 5th, and it continues through 5 o'clock Thursday the 29th. After that, you cannot absentee vote. You can pick up your ballot here, take it out at home, take it to home, fill it out later. The ballot has to be turned into either the polling place or town hall by 8 o'clock Tuesday, November 3rd. The polls at M.R.S.A East open at 7 a.m. and close at 8 p.m. on November 3rd. And this sheet is out of date because right now we are over 2,500 absentee ballots have been mailed out with, I think, 1,300 or 1,400 returned so far or in-person voting here. The 24/7 ballot drop box outside the entrance to Town Hall here has been very busy, and we do have our sheriff's deputies reserved for the ballot, the election day at M.R.S.A East. Moving over to the subject of our audit. The audit preparation that was going to be for June 4 and 5 was obviously not delayed, but just didn't happen, I guess, because of pandemic issues. And they were waiting for that to subside, and also some Julie time that was out for surgery recovery. Julie's now working on her list for supplying the documents to the accountants. David Lowe is hooked up, or all but hooked up, a terminal for them to have a read-only access to our TRIO budget database, that they can go in and look at everything they would look at if they're in the building here. And I think David finalized that today with Ron Smith. Ron asked me the question, and here it is in mid-October, if they could come and present the audit in December. I said, sure, that's fine. That would be the fastest turnaround they've ever done, I think, in terms of starting, because I don't think they've really started very much at all. So stay tuned in terms of that. I will not promise that they'll be here in December, but he did ask the question. It was not me.
Sign them up.
Yep. Let's talk about Little Ospey Lake. Mother Nature dumped 3 to 4 inches of rain in the last week or 10 days, so it took the lake a little longer to go down for that extra foot. Chris Broussard assumes that that extra foot of Ospey Lake lowering will happen sometime in the next 2 weeks, I guess, depending on how much rain we get. Moving on to the fire department, the heater installations have been installed in South Waterboro Station, and the chief is working with our sign contractor, RSD Graphics, and Public Works in preparation for the power line and the cable line for the new LED sign on the Route 5 end of John Smith Road. That's where it's going, where that planter is now and where the sign fell down quite some time ago. In terms of the library, the fellow that we had selected last year to do the chimney work and the roof replacement on the back low slope shed at the library just cannot be found, won't answer our calls, so we've separated ourselves from him. We didn't ever pay him any money, he never did any work. There's another local contractor who has bid on it and will start quite soon. We're going to fix the chimney first, which will could make a mess of the roof, and the entire roof in that back shed, the framing members come off, and those will be replaced, properly insulated, and the roof covering over that. We have a unique event happening this Saturday, starting at 10 a.m., and that is there's going to be 1,000 boxes of food distributed behind our food pantry right next to Town Hall here, starting this Saturday. Each food box will have 12 pounds of produce, 5 pounds of meat, 5 pounds of dairy, and it'll be accompanied by a gallon of 2% milk. This is being organized by the York County Shelter, the USDA Farmers to Families program, as well as Clio and the food pantry here, obviously being the contact for that. It'll be a drive-through setup. You do not need to get out of your car. You pull into the pantry driveway. David and I or others will have cones out there. You'll pull into the gravel portion of the parking lot behind the pantry. Somebody will put this material in your car and you'll drive out through the town hall parking lot. So it should be quite quick, and they did this in Saco within recent weeks, and it was less than 3 hours that they got all that food out. Waterboro residency is not required to participate. There are no qualifications here. You just need to show up, and we do need volunteers, and you can call Cleo Smith, who's with the food pantry, at 247-5967, or you can get in touch with myself, Gary Lamb, at Town Hall. The only other thing I would add that's not on your sheet here is tomorrow night, the planning board takes up additional discussion on the first site plan review for a solar project. They also have a site walk before that at 5 o'clock on the second project, and it's out behind JD's Market. That's been advertised. So there's a possible decision on the solar project near Straw Mill Brook Road, and there's the initial public hearing and discussion for the second site, what we call the Malone property behind JD's Market. I'll be manning the front lobby with overflow folks since we have a public hearing, and we'll be funneling them in this room one by one if they wish to speak and ask questions. 2 weeks ago, that worked very well. I had some overflow guests here, but they never needed to ask their questions because we answered them before they needed to ask them. But since we close at 5 tomorrow night, we'll be able to use the front lobby with the television out there, and it's a much better sound quality. So that's it from me, Mr. Chairman.
The food pantry thing, I guess I haven't seen anything posted on our website or...
This just happened yesterday, so...
I know that it's driven around the food pantry, but
Yeah.
it might be beneficial to put it up on our sites, both Facebook and
I wasn't going to say anything tonight because the time was either 10 or 2, and I wasn't about to say something, but it's been confirmed that on or around 10 a.m. is when it starts. So that's been confirmed today, and I'll get David on this to get posted tomorrow.
Okay, questions, comments?
Not on that, but if I could go back to an announcement that just kind of reminded me, listening to him.
Yep.
So, Saturday from 10 to 2 at the Waterboro, Hannaford, is the annual drug take-back day. The Sheriff's Office is doing it in conjunction with other law enforcement throughout the state. So from 10 to 2, if there's anybody in any town for that matter, not just Waterboro, that has unused prescription drugs, excluding any syringes or needles, feel free to bring them down and dispose of them with the deputy at the Waterboro, Hannaford. There'll be some other locations, Goodwin's Mills Fire Station, as well as the Walgreens in Cornish.
Good. Very popular. I've been to those.
Okay, anything else?
Thank you.
All right, let's get going on a new business. Discuss or going to a committee. Discuss, vote to appoint a committee member to the Budget and Economic Development Committee. We have one applicant. What is your pleasure?
I make a motion to appoint Jedediah Young to the Budget Committee.
Okay,
Second that.
any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? You want to appoint to the Economic Development Committee as well, or hold up on?
I actually think, my opinion is that we get him in for one for now and go from there.
It works for me.
At the end of budget season, if there's still a vacancy at the EDC, we can tackle it at that time.
If you're still interested, absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you.
Discuss vote to approve abatements to correct a tax assessment.
Yeah, this was caught by Doug Foglio Sr. and Shirley. And unfortunately, Doug had been charged for the incomplete construction of the dance studio building on 202. After the owners were also being assessed for the complete building. So that obviously needs to be corrected. Shirley has done her 1-year abatement. My recommendation is you folks do the 2 years that you're legally authorized to do for this. Certainly was an error on our part.
And I'll entertain a motion to approve this abatement.
So moved.
Okay, I'll make the motion to approve.
He's
No, okay, I'm sorry. All right, you got it.
Then moved by Dana, second by
Second by
Dave.
me, I'm with you now.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed?
Pretty straightforward.
Motion carries 3-0.
That should be in your folder to sign.
Okay. Discuss a vote to approve Leona Drive as a town road. So we do have Doug Foglio Jr. with us this evening, who is part of the development team up there.
I think the only party we don't have here tonight would be Sebago Technics, who Doug hired to do some of the work that's in your packet. I'll talk, and then these gentlemen can fill in what I've left out, because Doug's a lot more intimate with this project and development in general. But clearly, they've done what we require of them as much as they can. Remember, our road acceptance ordinance is a bit in conflict with itself. In one part of that ordinance, it says, a registered professional engineer shall do A, B, and C. In another part of the ordinance, it says the town's authorized agent, which historically I think has been the Public Works Director. Doug always did these things when he and I were working together, Doug Senior, and David, I think, has continued that and was doing some of the on-site work. You can see that from the letter he wrote. It's in your packet there. So from my side of the coin, I think Doug and his developer project here has done what we can logically expect them to do. And I would invite the board to discuss things with Doug and David as you see fit.
Distance, how long?
The road,
Yep.
600 feet including the hammerhead turn.
600 feet, including the hammerhead, you said? And if we accept this, we'd have to add it to the snowplow contract, right?
Yeah.
So the width of the road, all of that meets the town road specifications to the best of our knowledge. Any other questions, comments? In the subdivision has got an approved subdivision plan here on record, right?
Yeah, can I speak for a second?
Yep.
Please. So, earlier this year, I presented this book here with a bunch of documents that I had put together, thinking that everything was adequate for acceptance. I'd been schooled otherwise. But, so, it was approved by the planning board in 2018. We went ahead and built it last year, surfaced it this spring. It's an 18-foot wide paved road, which is the town requirement for that particular use. When I submitted this package, Lee J did a review, and he asked for a couple of things that weren't on there. And Gary kind of touched on the fact that there's a little ambiguity in the ordinance. The road, let's see, the subdivision ordinance, the street design ordinance, and the road acceptance ordinance should all marry together. And unfortunately, there's some verbiage here and verbiage there that doesn't. So a suggestion that I had, and I actually had a conversation with Glenn on this too. I said, you know, it takes time to get all of these things reviewed and kind of married together so that everybody knows what they should be doing. And I read through the subdivision ordinance, you know, front to back, didn't know there was a road acceptance ordinance, so I was a little bit uneducated in that respect. But you know, we build a lot of subdivisions all over York County, and we've been doing it for a lot of years. And one of the things that would be extremely helpful in the future is if the town required a pre-construction meeting, and that could be a condition of approval. Now, there are several conditions, one being that as a developer, we provide the town with a bond. You know, it's a good insurance policy, and we did so. But by having this pre-construction meeting, it's usually controlled by the planning department. Now, the planner would come in and he has an agenda. And through this agenda, you may only have 6 items to be highlighted, but one of them would be what you have to do in order to present this to the town of Waterboro for acceptance. And I would have known that in lieu of having David perform the inspections, which I come and got him at each and every time, and we'd meet up there and get the inspections, and I have letters that David wrote to me at my request, over the course of construction, verifying that everything was done in accordance with the plans. But I would have known that this had to be done by an engineer. Now, a lot of towns have a third-party engineer involved, and I think Sebago Technics is still the town engineer, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, all right. Well, they happened to do the design for me. So you had to step out and talk with somebody else, and there are many of them around that do this inspection process. So as a developer, I would have been asked to escrow some money. In a small subdivision like this might be $2,000, $2,500. And this third-party engineer would come in and perform periodic inspections, draw from the escrow account, and in the end, we settle up. If there's money left in the account, it comes back to the developer. If there's more money needed, the developer pays it. It's a pretty simple process, and it's pretty ironclad. That way you don't have any conflict of interest with the design engineer and the inspecting engineer. So that's just something for the future, okay? So we don't have this misunderstanding is what it was, more than anything else. I assure you the road was built according to the plans, and again, David performed inspections on the roadway. Now, as far as the drainage infrastructure is concerned, there's an infiltration pond at the end, and that was designed by York County Soil Conservation. And as a condition of their approval, it had to be inspected by the design engineer. And I have the documents where Sebago Technics come out during the construction and inspected the pond. That part, we knew up front, it had to be done, it was a condition. So they provided me with that. So after the fact, after Lee J's review, he mentioned the fact that that a civil engineer had to go and inspect this. So I asked Sean Frank from Sebago Technics to write me a letter, which he did. And he, and I've sent this out to Glenn and Lee J, and I hadn't got a response. It's been a while. I know everybody's busy, but I brought a copy here, and I'll leave it for your review if you want to look at it. So, he came out and did an after-the-fact inspection. And...
That dated September 11th?
Excuse me?
Is that letter dated September 11th from Sean?
Yeah, we have that.
They have that.
Yeah, it's September 11th. Okay,
Yes.
all right. So, good. And then we actually put together an as-built plan in our office using our field survey. And Lee J asked for something in addition to that. So then there was a plan, I hired Sebago Technics to produce an as-built drawing, which I believe you should have that too. That was sent out. So this here should satisfy any needs they had, and the letter here hopefully will put to rest the fact that a civil engineer didn't perform some of the inspections during, but David did. And, like I said, I think that's something that's easily taken care of in the future without changing the ordinance.
So let me back up a minute. When you said a pre-construction meeting,
Correct.
isn't there a subdivision checklist that you have to go through?
For approval.
For approval and
Correct.
whatnot. Does that make any reference to road acceptance, the road acceptance ordinance, or, so these are kind of like three-legged stool that they don't have the top on it, right?
Well, so, it's really not the planning board's.
No, and they can't approve a road, okay? That has to come from, they're gonna approve the subdivision.
Right.
But I guess, when you say a pre-construction meeting, before you start the subdivision, are there any meetings with town staff, be it the planner, CEO? So
Well, the only meeting, Dennis, not to interrupt you, the only meeting would be if I went in and physically handed over the bond, which I did. So it's a meeting, no. And so there's, once I left the planning board, there was nothing else other than I read through, right? If I hadn't read through the subdivision ordinance and come up with the verbiage that an agent of the town of Waterboro had to perform inspections, if somebody else didn't read that, it's conceivable that the subdivision would have been built. Nobody would have ever looked at anything. So, and we do this in, I don't want to say every town, because, it's not every town, but the towns that we work in consistently have these pre-construction meetings. And sometimes, it's just like, everybody thinks as well, it's a waste of time. Maybe the 10th one is, but the first one's not. So, the planner, code enforcement, fire chief, especially if there's some type of fire suppression involved, public works director, all of those people are usually involved in these meetings. And they're not there to set new rules, but just to clarify things.
Spearheaded by the planning department.
Spearheaded by the planning department. And there's usually an agenda written, and these things are highlighted, and the town says an inspecting engineer. So conceivably, I could have had Sebago Technics come in and do inspections. Now, they're not going to perjure themselves for me or for anybody else. They got a reputation to uphold, and they're not going to certify something that's substandard, nor do I think any other engineer would. But to alleviate the perception of a conflict, usually there's a third party involved. And, by providing an escrow that you draw from, and it doesn't have to be in this enormous amount of money, which it can be in some towns, and it's just, kind of uncalled for. But you get a small sum of money where somebody comes out and does these periodic inspections. Pretty simple project up there. There's 4 or 5 inspections required, and it would just set the tone. And the town of Waterboro has been in this predicament in the past where there were substandard roads built, and the roads turned over to an association, and years later the association comes to the town for acceptance, and you're just opening the whole can of worms again. So I'm saying moving forward without going through and revamping the whole ordinance, because if somebody doesn't read it, then it doesn't make any difference anyway.
So in the municipalities that you work in that have these pre-construction meetings, what drives that meeting? Is there, when you get approval for the subdivision, is there a requirement that before construction starts?
It's a condition.
So it's a condition of approval subdivision.
Correct.
There will be a pre-construction. So even if it's 2 years, if that subdivision sits dormant for 2 years and nobody builds a lick on it, right? Before it can start, before the road goes in and all of that stuff, then there has to be a pre-construction meeting.
Correct. And that's triggered by a condition set by the planning board. So, and that can happen, sometimes in site plan too. We've done several projects in Saco over the past couple of years, and even in site plan, they require a pre-construction meeting. And it's just, all it does is just gets everything out on the table for somebody who may not have worked in this town before, and maybe to clarify some of these issues. And it's, if you draft the agenda, it can be the same agenda every time. It only takes once to do it. And you're reviewing things, and if somebody builds multiple projects, it becomes old hat. But for the first time, it's very informative, and it lets the person who's doing the construction know what the town's going to require when it comes to this point right here.
So if you do multiple projects in Saco, for example, you have a pre-construction meeting prior to every
project. So like I say, it becomes old hat after a while. But it's still a condition of approval. If it doesn't happen, you can't build. They'll come out and put a stop work order on it. So that, the bond,
Well, we ought to have that discussion with Lee J.
We talked about this, that I asked them to make these comments because they're spot on with what we need.
And Gary and I have discussed this a little bit, and it's, the ambiguity in the ordinances and them not blending together real well. It takes time to rewrite those things, and it takes votes, and it takes, but all the information everybody needs is there. But you just need to gather it in, so a guy like myself comes, you're just handing that knowledge over, and, there's a record of you take minutes at the meeting, and there's a record, so if I'm standing up here, a year later, and I say, well, I wasn't told that, you go right back to the meeting minutes, and yeah, you were told that this is exactly what you need to do, and you didn't do it. It makes everybody's job a little easier.
Yeah, so
That's something we should.
So even though we don't have to, even though, as you said, it takes time to get the subdivision ordinance, the road acceptance ordinance, and the road specs all to talk or link to one another with some language. But what he's talking about is driving as a condition of approval.
Yep.
There has to be a pre-construction meeting of all of those parties, right? Public Works, Public Safety, the engineer, the planner, et cetera, right, and the developer.
Right.
I mean, our staff review committee meets now, David, Fire Chief, maybe Inspector from Fire Department as well, Code Officer, and Lee J.
But that's something that could take place tomorrow night, right, at the planning board meeting. If they approve the subdivision tomorrow night, they could have, as a condition of approval, Lee J could offer that up as, hey, we need to add this other condition, which would be a pre-construction.
He's already thinking in that line because he's recommending that the planning board have somebody on the ground when they clear the lot so they don't go beyond the boundaries.
I guess I wasn't specifically talking about that.
But short answer to your question is yes, they can do that, yeah.
So that doesn't take any ordinance change whatsoever, other than just to establish a precedent at the planning board that when they approve a subdivision, any subdivision or any project for that matter, that they could require as a condition of approval the holding of a pre-construction meeting.
And I would agree with Doug that this is not just subdivision, this is smart to do for site plan too, for a commercial building.
And essentially, just like the approval process, Dennis mentioned the checklist. And there is a checklist of all the things that you have to do. And when an engineer comes in and designs a project in the town of Waterboro, they're sifting through all this information, and they've got design standards, they've got everything that they need is there. It may come from here or there, or, it may not all be kind of nice and neat, but it's all there. So, you're essentially having a similar, I don't want to say the similar, but a checklist, so to speak, It's one of the issues at your pre-construction meeting would be, okay, you have to have a bond in for, this, and it has to be either an irrevocable letter of credit or a performance and payment bond. And you just check it off, it's in. And it's just kind of those are things that are easily overlooked. There was a subdivision on the West Road many years ago, the bond was allowed to expire. Problems. Road wasn't surfaced and all kinds of things, so a lot of work needed to still be done up there. The town's now on the hook, you got the residents, no association, it's a mess. So, it's just, there's a lot of things that need to be kind of looked at. Covenants, we presented covenants to the planning board, and they can be a discussion at the pre-construction meeting briefly, but just hitting all those milestones so that a person comes in that listened is prepared for this right here, and it's just a no-brainer. So, we've kind of got there. It's a little bit after the fact. I assure you that it was all correct, but it's, I had no problems having Sebago Tech perform inspections through the process, had I known.
David, anything you want to add?
I would like to add that this theory is not new. I, over the years, built and was the overseer of, I don't know how many projects, and every single project we had to have the engineer of the city or the town, the water district, the sewer people, everyone had to be at this pre-construction meeting to make sure that all the Ts were crossed and all the Is were dotted. So it's not something new, it's just something we need to, I agree, we need to go forward with. And it's not, I don't feel that it's something that's overpowering the planning board, it's just something that's going to enhance the system.
No, planning board, all they're gonna do is make it as a condition of the approval. They don't have to do anything beyond that, right?
Yep.
It's like a bond.
Yep.
There's a condition of the approval, you provide a performance bond or a letter of credit, whatever the case may be, right? So. Questions? Comments?
I think Mr. Fogler was very well articulated in his presentation, and what he says, in my eyes, makes perfect sense. And if we haven't been doing it, I really think that we should investigate a little further on starting this pre-construction meeting for sure.
I think that's a given. We can start that immediately.
Yep.
What's your pleasure with approving this road?
Make a motion, we accept this road.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve Leona Drive as a town road, given the information that we've been provided by the developer and the Public Works Director. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Opposed?
3-0.
3-0.
Thank you.
Now we need to pay for winter maintenance.
So, one other thing, I drafted...
You want another road?
No. After we vote, yeah. Okay, so, I have a description, which is a deed description, that Sebago Technics put together for the roadway. So the next step would be for me to prepare the deed and present it to the town, right? And so you're actually going to...
Ultimately, we're going to own it.
You're going to own the road, you own all the infrastructure. So I'll get the deed, now that it's been voted, I'll get the deed drafted and I'll get it presented to Gary. Right? Thank you.
All right.
Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming.
At what point do I contact the plow contractor and let him know?
I guess tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock would be good.
Okay.
That would make sense.
Yep.
I mean, to Doug's point, I guess, pending, we've approved it. There's got to be a few wickets done legally, right, from a deed perspective, but other than that,
Yeah, I guess we amend the contract and change the numbers
Yep,
a little bit.
yep.
600 feet is a lot of money. A lot of salt and sand.
The homeowners, thank you. Because if you didn't pick it up, they have to pay for it, so it's, and the way it is that, there's an association that's hanging there right now that's never been enacted. And once this step, if you had rejected it, of course, the association would pick it up and they would do it, so. And as far as that pre-construction meeting goes, I'll send Gary some, maybe a couple of agendas that we've had in the past.
Yeah, somehow it's got to be hooked to the fact that just because you have a pre-construction meeting doesn't automatically accept the road at the end of the...
Oh, no.
It still has to go, there could be an issue with the road, right? So it doesn't, I think that the thing that we want to make sure of is that once all that stuff takes place, that the developer doesn't say, hey, they're going to approve my road, right? Because there's not an approval until it comes before the board here to approve it. And we look at the evidence that suggests that everything was done in accordance with the plan, right? So we just need to be careful that there's not a preconceived notion that, oh, it's
Still have to
already...
go through all the inspections.
Right, that's exactly right, but if they go through all those extensions, inspections, still doesn't automatically mean that it's gonna be accepted.
At the end of the day, it needs to come in, so, right?
Right.
Contractors know that,
Right.
Well,
Well, some
anybody,
of them, some of them.
developers know.
yeah, that doesn't change.
Yeah.
It just kind of gets everybody a little better prepared.
So the homeowners association is going to exist still for other things, or
No.
is this was it?
It's abolished.
It's a road association, right?
That- yeah.
So it was a road, not a homeowners
No,
association?
it was a homeowners association to take care of the road.
Okay.
All right, and then there's a road maintenance agreement built within the homeowners association. There are no officers, there's nothing until, had the road not passed or been accepted by the town, then the homeowners association would have then been formed, they would have elected officers, and the road maintenance agreement, and that's all in their deed.
Okay. So does the town and you have to do anything else regarding the homeowners association
No.
to make that go away?
No.
Okay.
It's in the covenant, it's automatically abolished. So the only thing I have to do is get you a deed.
I'm just thinking about planning board minutes to reflect this whole action.
No. Nope.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
thanks.
you.
Nick. All right, old business, update on equipment list. I think we had this last time, it is in the packet.
You have the old rate under, I think, the column, correct me if I'm wrong, David, is approved rate from Selectmen, which we would call that the old rate.
There's copies I think I put over there.
Yeah, I don't have all the funds.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Sorry.
But the approved rate for Selectmen is the old numbers we've been using.
Yeah, and just to refresh everybody, the approved rate from Selectmen was when the Selectmen had to approve it, okay? We don't have to approve it today, that's between Gary and the Public Works Director of what they're gonna pay for equipment. We can certainly endorse it, but back when this was originally done, that was before the recent charter change. and
2012?
It was approved by the
What's that? When this, yeah,
2011?
Yeah.
2011, that was prior to the charter change and the change in the town administrator's responsibilities. So the board had to approve it then. We can certainly endorse it now, but these two can go off and enact it tomorrow if they want to enact it. So
Well, why don't we bash heads with other people if necessary, and then bring you a finished product?
that's fine with me.
It's always nice to have the,
You know,
Sunshine
like I said,
law.
I don't have a problem with endorsing it, but we don't have to. It's not something that the selectmen now approve based on the language in the charter.
understood. We'll take these options and put them into a recommendation. So, bring it back. Is there any particular categories you want to talk about here with, on this?
no, it was pretty much covered with what Oldale and Dearborn and what I had gone over with them. The changes in some of the, like the excavators, those weights are all off track, but adjust those a little bit, but the rest of it is all about the same, so.
If I recall, that many years ago, 9+ years ago, the approved rate was consistent with the state rate at that time.
It was close.
Okay, so you got what two major contractors in town have, but do we have a comparison with, and just for data to look at, do we have the state rates for these same size
I do not.
equipment? but that's pretty readily available, right? I mean, we could
Yeah.
plug those into
I
the,
will call Joe, who is the head of this region, and Travis, who is the head of the Alfred camp, and see if they will work those up for me.
yeah, I think it's,
Yeah, let's get that for a third one.
I think that's half the issue though, I mean, that's why Dave can't get trucks,
Yeah, I
can't get
understand,
excavators, nothing, I mean, it should be based on, and it should be an updated thing every year, it shouldn't be
that's right.
every 8 to 10 years. It
Yeah,
should be
and
every single year, it should be updated.
This started exactly in a conversation that the three of us had here one day, and I can't remember what we were looking at or talking about, but we got onto this of, well, I can't get the help because I don't pay enough, and I'm going, well, you pay whatever you want, that's what the charter says now, is between you and Gary, you can go do what you gotta do, and, so anyway, David was still using this, I'm gonna call it archaic pay rate, so, as a baseline, but you're right, Dana, it's, you can't get, if you're paying, 2/3 of what everybody else can get, you're never gonna get everybody to work down, right?
I mean, I've had times Dave asked me to work, but I surely ain't working my taxes for 65 an hour,
Right,
so let them sit in the driveway and rot.
well, you can afford to do that.
Yeah, but we're paying, that's 65, that's $15 to $20 an hour cheaper than any construction outfit around.
Right. All right, any other input before we jump in? And then I guess the comprehensive plan stuff, probably, I think we talked about having another workshop, right?
Yeah, I went over this list again. I think the one they get, Laura, have the deleted tasks on it.
No, the one that you got before was just a priority, this is the full list.
Okay, so this is the
Without
full
the
list.
deleted tasks on it.
So let's digest this a bit, and then we'll, I think we can, I think, if nothing more, at the next meeting, let's establish a workshop that we can sit down and
Okay.
bring Lee J in, and I'm just concerned that, some of the stuff that was in the comprehensive plan, relative to land use and the village stuff and all of that, I don't think that there's been any movement from the planning board with regards to,
Some of it is not remembered. For everybody's benefit here, we had probably somewhere between 100 and 150 recommendations in the comp plan, which was multiple different books over time. Lee J and I took all those tasks and boiled them down to what you have in front of you, which is 43, I think. And of that 43, I think we've had 18 have been done or are ongoing as we speak. So we can have discussions about those things. The majority of these things here have had very little done with them. A few of them are irrelevant. For instance, the Waterboro Association of Business has folded. A few other things like that. You got to dive into the details on each one, and if you have some hot burning issues you want, then we can talk about what we've done or
I
not.
think, and as a perfect example, we're trying to resurrect an economic development committee. We've got an association of business that kind of folded their tents. And I think that's where, not that we want to run an association of businesses or a chamber of commerce, but certainly we partnered up initially with, Bedford Saco. And that was kind of nice and that kind of stuff, but I do think that, one of the priorities is gonna be to get this economic development committee up and running and bring in some other business folks that would like to see those efforts continue. And we've got the TIF zones hanging, there's a whole bunch of things that we need to do with that, so. But let's set up a night and crash through this again and,
Can we get through the election first?
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, we're gonna do this the day.
We're gonna do this a week from tonight, right? Yes.
All right, Anything under old business that I missed? Other discuss and vote to approve the minutes of the October 6th regular meeting. Only two of you here, so were we all here? I think we were, right? I think we all were here. Yes. So, I can take a motion from either one of you.
Make a motion that we accept the minutes as read from October 6th.
Second for sure.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
3-0. Thank you.
3-0. Anything you want on the agenda? The next meeting.
Which would be November 10th.
If you need anything, holler.
We'll do obviously a recap of the election
Yep.
and have Christine and probably maybe Nancy also. I'm sure things will come up.
Yep. And don't forget that you need to sign the minutes and the abatement. I have that in my hand here, so other than that, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor? Good night, 7:06.